Hello, it's me. Hello, it's me. Hello. Welcome back to another video. If you've been watching my past videos, then you know that I have an issue with a WAPS that consistently shows up while I'm recording. I don't see it right now, but I also haven't dealt with it myself, so it might pop up out of nowhere. No guarantees. If I start freaking out, that's why. But anyways, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something we talked about in my small group. So I have my Bible. So let me turn over to Samuel, 1 Samuel. And this is Hannah's prayer. Hannah's prayer is something that I've heard be taught many times, but this never stood out to me until I read through it myself, until I hear it. Oh gosh, hold on, let me deal with that. Hold on, we're gonna push through until it returns. Hannah's story is a story that I've heard taught a few times, but this never stood out to me until I read through it myself and had to discuss it in a group. Something it helps me realize is that we really process the word. I mean, this is not like a new thing, but it dawned on me how much we really process the word through the lens for which we operate in our own lives. Because as we were discussing the chapter, I realized that Hannah never responded in bitterness, even though she definitely had the means to. She had the resources. she definitely could have, but she never did. I think reading the text, I believe that vindication is a big part of what she was desiring in her ask. Obviously she wanted the physical child, but I think with the physical child, considering the culture that she's in, where having children was everything, especially for women, because you wanted to pass down your name generationally, there was an emphasis on generational inheritance. I think a core desire of her prayer was to be vindicated, and in that desire she had space to gain vindication in a different way in the meantime. In Samuel chapter 1, where Hannah's story is told, it talks about how she was taunted and tortured, honestly, basically, by her husband's second wife. And as I was reading it, in chapter 1, verse 5, it says, it's talking about Elkanah is the husband. He would go sacrifice, and then he would give portions of that sacrifice to Hannah and the second wife. But to Hannah, he gave a double portion because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. Even though Hannah wasn't giving him a child, he still loved her more than he loved his wife that was giving him a child. And Hannah definitely kind of leaned into that and taunted the wife back. And as we were discussing it, when the question was posed, what do you see in the text? I'm like, her character. We were discussing prayer. We were discussing prayer and how to navigate prayer in hard times. And I saw the posture we are meant to hold when we are going through these hard times, when we're praying and praying for years and years, when we are petitioning God in prayer for something. While there are outside pressures present, this is the posture, Hannah's posture. Hannah constantly turning to God. Instead of letting bitterness reign in her flesh, Hannah consistently turned to God. She never got her lick back, for lack of better wording. She could have definitely leaned into the fact that she was loved by the husband most, the fact that she got double portions most. She could have leaned into that as a defense mechanism, but that would have been her flesh. She never leans into the desire to be vindicated in the flesh. She never does. And yeah, her character just stood out to me a lot, because I feel like if I was in that situation, I definitely would have been fighting back. I would have been fighting back in the flesh. But that's not going to get us anywhere. That was never going to get her the child. Petitioning to the Lord, constantly praying, getting on her face every time, instead of taking pleasure in the things that she was receiving in the physical, even the double portions that was supposed to bring her joy. But that's not where our joy comes out of. That's not the root of our joy as believers. The root of our joy is Christ. Even in good and bad physical realities, the root of our joy remains God. So therefore, we can never lose sight of turning to him all the time, at all costs. It always has to come back to God, good or bad. It always has to come back to God first, even when there are distractions present. So yeah, I wanted to share that because that is something that stood out to me in the text, is the fact that she never allowed bitterness to guide her actions, or she never responded in bitterness, even though she definitely could have. She never responded in pettiness, even though she definitely could have. And it's a reminder to me. I think I noticed that in the text because it exposes my heart posture in relationships, because I would have taken advantage of being loved the most, and I would have fought back with that. But that's not what we're called to as believers. We're not called to eye for an eye. We're not called to defend ourselves at the expense of others. We are called to turn to God. Everything, in every way, turn to Him. He's the one that can do like He's the one that can do for us what we desire most. Only God could give her the child. So honestly, it's unproductive. Even though it would satisfy the flesh to some extent in the physical sense, it's still unproductive. She still remains unhappy because she still doesn't have her greatest desire, which is the child. And so I think that's gonna really help me navigate relationships, and honestly, like, know how to guard my heart, or at least know what to be mindful of and what to guard my heart from, so that the enemy cannot use my weaknesses in that sense to be successful. I think it's important that when we are most desperate, we don't let the flesh win. Hannah could have let bitterness reign, but she never did. She always petitioned God, and she honored God through her petition. Before He even gave her the child she desired, she honored Him. I think that's going to be all for now. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you. Bye, guys.